Hey friend, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you the secret to a fat drum room sound. We're going to be talking about getting a fat room sound today on drums using just a simple EQ move. And this is going to help you make sure you have a big drum sound in general because the room sound actually contributes quite a bit of energy. And we're going to see that here today with just a little mono room mic on this drum kit. But before we dive in here, if you're ready to start dialing in a repeatable workflow for cranking out professional sounding drum mixes, then you need to go through my 3-step framework for mixing drums workshop. This workshop is going to walk you through the simple 3-step process that I go through on almost every single one of my mixes to help you dial in professional sounding drum mixes right from your home studio. It is a 100% free to watch, on-demand video training, and you can get instant access to that by clicking the link below in the video description. Now let's jump in here and take a look at these drums. So this is a small kit here. You can see it's just a kick, overheads, and a room mic here. But the room mic is still very, very important, even if we just have a kick drum going. Sure, I could get rid of the overheads and I could get rid of the room mic and just keep the kick drum, but you're gonna see here in a minute, it is still a very crucial piece of our drum kit. So let me play you the mix here for this track, and then I'm gonna solo up just the drums so you can hear what we're dealing with here. So here's our finished mix on this track. You can hear it's literally just the kick drum. There's no snare, there's no cymbal noise, there's no hi-hat, there's no toms, there's nothing but this kick drum pattern that is driving the bottom end on this song, in addition to, of course, our bass guitar. But I still have overheads and I still have a room mic. And I want to show you why our room mic is so crucial here. So take a listen without our room mic here on the drums. So I'm going to start with it and then I'll take our room mic away. I want you to hear how drastically our drum sound diminishes. We lose quite a bit of power and quite a bit of realism when we take out the room mic. That room mic is serving a purpose to make our drums feel big and to make them feel more lively here. That's how we get a fat drum sound overall. Once we have a fat room, we add that into our drum mix and we get a fatter drum sound overall. You can hear that with just our kick drum going on. So let's look at our room mic here and see what we're doing. There's one move I do on all of my room mics. This is just a mono room that I have up in the room, or a mono microphone that I have up in the room back here where we track drums. And the biggest move, the biggest difference for me is a low pass filter. So let me take everything off here and we'll piece it back together one by one. So here's our raw room sound. So you can hear it's nothing fabulous. It's quite small sounding. It's very timid. It's very mid-rangey sounding. It doesn't have good bottom end. It has this weird kind of smacky top end to it. The first thing I'm always going to do on room mics, mono room mics especially here, is I like to roll off all of that top end. It doesn't sound good far from the kit, especially in a smaller room that I have here. You really feel how small the room is. It sounds like a bedroom because it was a bedroom at one point back there. And that's what it makes it feel like. So for me, the biggest difference I can make is to roll off that top end to really fatten up this room sound. So take a listen. I've got a low pass filter in here 12 dB per octave, and I'm rolling it up to about 3K here. Now, if there were cymbals and hi-hat and ride going on, this would roll all of that off and give us a darker room sound. But what it's going to do here with just the kick drum is enhance how fat our room mic sounds. So take a listen without and then with our low pass. What we're ending up with here when we take off all those high frequencies is a darker drum room sound, but we're also leaving much more room for the bottom end to shine through on this room mic here. That's what's giving us the illusion of a fatter sound on this mono room mic. Now, a couple other things we're going to do here. I like to put in a high pass filter as well, just to tighten up the bottom end here. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to roll it in. We've got 12 dB per octave slope at about 55, almost 60 hertz here. So, 56.5 hertz. This is just coming up underneath the fundamental on our kick drum here, just to tighten up and focus our bottom end so it's not so loose and it's not so long sounding. Now, what we've done so far is we've isolated the frequency spectrum on the room mic that we want to emphasize in this mix here, that we want to bring up underneath our kick drum to enhance the liveliness, to enhance the fatness of our kit here. We're going to take it one step further, and we're going to move the frequencies around a little bit more. I'm going to take a huge chunk out of the low mids here on this room mic. So we're at 400 hertz, almost 402 hertz, so pretty much 400 hertz here, right smack dab in the middle of the low mids. And I'm going to take 10 dB out. This is going to work the same way our low pass does on the top end. By getting rid of all those frequencies on the top end, we made more room for the bottom end to shine through. Now, by getting rid of all this information in the low mids, all we're going to have left is that bottom end and a little bit of the mid-range here that's going to give our kick drum some energy to cut through. It's going to help you hear the room, and then we're going to have this fatness in the bottom end that we're left with. So take a listen without, and then I'm going to put this cut in here at 400 hertz. Without all that buildup in the low mids, all that muddiness there, your ear only has one thing left to gravitate towards, and that's the fundamental down here at 80 hertz. So by taking all that out, all that space out in the low mids, we leave plenty of room left to emphasize that low end that we have coming from this room mix. So now let me do a full A/B here on our EQ. You can hear our before and after on the room mic. We get rid of that slappy top end, we get rid of some ring in the mid-range here, we get rid of all that muddiness, and we tighten up our bottom end to focus in on the fundamental that we're getting from our kick drum here. So let's throw this back in with our drum kit here. And I'll do the same thing before and after here on our EQ, and I'll also mute and unmute our room. You can hear the impact it's making on our kit as a whole. Before I mute and unmute it here, there's a funny thing that happens when we throw the room mic in with the rest of our kit here, so with our kick drum essentially. So listening to the room by itself, when I turn on and off this high pass filter, it feels like we're losing bottom end because I'm cutting out all that extra sub area on the room mic here. So it feels like it's making the room mic feel weaker and feel smaller because we're reducing bottom end. But when we put it in context with our actual kick drum, our spot mics here, when we throw the EQ in, it feels like our kit gets bigger because we don't have two instruments or two mics fighting for dominance in the bottom end. That's why cleaning up the bottom end, the sub area here, with a high pass filter on the room mic goes a long way to fatten up our room sounds. Take a listen now. I will mute and unmute our room mic. You can hear the difference it's making with our kick drum. And let's take it even further. Let's throw this back inside of our entire track. And one more time, we'll mute and unmute our room mic. You can hear the difference it makes in the track as a whole. Fattening up our room mic, and then in addition, fattening up our kit as a whole. Just tightening up our frequency spectrum, rolling in a high pass, rolling in a low pass, pulling out all this muddiness in the low mid, and just leaving that bottom end left to give us a bigger room sound and a bigger drum sound overall. I hope that was helpful for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're ready to take your drum mixes to the next level, then you need to go through my 3-step framework for mixing drums workshop. This is a 100% free workshop that will help you dial in a repeatable workflow for getting professional sounding drum mixes right from your home studio. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next video.